Yes. All right, we'll open the work session at 9 a.m.
Oh, for goodness sakes. Thank you. We thank you for your support.
Thank you. Oh, nice. You're on TV right now. All right, so we've got Patriarch. Do you have anything?
No.
All right. Legal? Nope. All right, Mike.
See, we got a note for this year. It's unexpected. They originally announced this as a 3-year program, and we all understood last year was the last year for the program. But we've got a award of $34,900. $34,000 as a grant to make energy improvements. So, looking for suggestions. There's nothing. We seem to have met most of our really big needs at all 5 buildings. I'm looking for suggestions. If nobody has a better one, one of the things I'd like to look into is windows at Township Hall. Just update them. But other than that, I'm looking for the department heads or the trustees. If there's an energy project. We got plenty of time on this. I'm just raising it.
Did you say the sign would go under there?
Last year, Madison Village paid for a LED sign out of their NOPEC energy grant. I haven't done anything because it's a trustee's decision what we're going to.
Oh, when you asked, I thought maybe you were going to get a price just so you had it.
I was just touching base with you and let you know we got a grant, but
Okay.
I think I should get direction from the trustees
Sure.
on what we're doing.
I guess I'd rather see energy improvements if we can. I mean, we don't get much traffic by here. I drive by the
windows
one.
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense, but
What are we gonna put up there? Time and temperature?
well, I know we just could update with everything, but any upcoming events, dates, just like anybody else does with their sign. But I think windows would be the priority, but I don't know how much would be left or what the cost is after that.
I'll look into both and come back to you with what the costs are for both.
Yeah, get windows. Chief, you mentioned fans.
Fans, what kind of?
Oh,
Oh, okay, gotcha.
big ass fans. Big ass fans, right?
For all stations.
That's the name of them. Big ass fans. That's their
And-
company name.
So, and
Can
we
you
did,
imagine reading that one off when you vote on it?
Just about as bad as Dude Solutions, right?
and then, so we did HVAC at all the stations, right? And Township Hall?
Yep.
Do we do service garage?
No, they were new in 2008 when we moved in, so. Don't know if they're more energy efficient now than they would have been back then, but.
Well, they're definitely the updated Freon.
This building's old.
I mean, it's definitely switched to Freon, I bet.
So I guess that would be,
This building's old, right? How old is this building?
we got a good
About
deal.
20 years
We
old.
got a good deal on it.
Got a special price.
Little bidder got this one.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's
definitely
not that old,
windows.
Chuck, like 20 years, I think.
Definitely windows. I mean,
And I guess I would check into that, seeing that's that old. I mean,
The what?
The furnaces and air conditioning service garage, there would be, furnaces, and air conditioners.
definitely, yeah, we're checking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, because that would be an expense we'd run into down the road anyway, and it'd be more energy efficient.
Okay, I'll snoop around for some prices and come back to you. I assume I know the answer here, but it's a good thing to touch base on. We, last year, changed our policy with our annual donation to the Senior Citizen Center. Rather than just writing them a check for $3,500, we sent them a letter saying they had to submit expenses that they could be reimbursed for up to $3,500. We did not hear from either Senior Citizen Center. Neither one, yeah. And they probably didn't do anything in last year
So-
because of COVID.
We didn't write checks in 2020?
I don't believe we did, because we had to send a letter saying, we're going to reimburse you, because we were upset from the previous year from Painesville.
Oh, I remember that.
So we never wrote them a check. I sent them a letter, here's what you need to do, and we'll reimburse you up to $3,500, and neither one ever wrote back. It probably is because of COVID, I would think, but I'm touching base to me. Do you want me to send that letter again this year to Hope Centers?
What about the money from last year? I mean, I gotta think they used it. It's just,
Especially Fairport. Painesville,
Yeah.
who knows, but
yeah, Fairport
definitely.
does a lot. I gotta believe they used it. They were shut down totally?
Well-
Starting in March.
But they do a lot with like, meals and stuff too, I think.
So I guess, I don't know, my thought is
And
we
there's,
sent them the information. I don't know, give them to the end of the month this month and see if either of them submit anything. I mean, I'm all in favor of supporting them, but there was quite a bit of backlash. Was it last year or the year before with one of them? That's why we implemented
well, we won't, yeah, because one wasn't operating.
right.
Quite frankly, we believe they took the money on our false
Yeah.
pretense, but
So, and I guess hopefully if Fairport is doing something or plans to do something, they would submit a letter.
Are they operating now?
I know that they do their meal pickups and that kind of stuff. What activity wise inside, I'm not sure. I'll find out. I mean, but I know that they are active.
But I meant the Painesville one. Are
Oh,
they
no,
active?
they're not open.
They're not open at all?
No.
Well, okay. All right, let's find out on Fairport, because Fairport I know does a lot.
Yeah.
Exactly, to find out.
What they've done. I just
Let's-
wonder if she just didn't send the paperwork in, if they
Well,
put it off
yeah,
and
I
wondering what
follow
the,
Well, don't,
I'll follow up with Chris.
Okay.
and yeah, and you tell her to send.
Yeah.
I tried calling this morning. Okay.
And that's what I've got.
We're gonna have to start talking slower.
Yeah.
wow, really? That's like a 5-minute report?
If it took that long, yeah.
Yeah, if it took that long. How about that?
Most of my work right now is background stuff like, setting up the community events and stuff. So a lot of what I'm doing doesn't need interaction with the trustees. I just need to reserve the day at the fairgrounds, at the history center, parade going.
Yeah.
It's never been this way. That's good. I mean, it's
Did you
just,
see, you put an update in your stuff on the TIF, right?
I did.
Okay, because I know we talked. Do you guys see his update on the TIF? That in March, we should see
The way
money?
it works is the money that's collected for our TIF will be remitted to us twice a year with our regular other appropriations, which is typically March and August. There'll be a new line item on our appropriation sheet that the county sends to us that lists the amount of dollars that are in the TIF. They don't know what the dollars are now. When I called the office last week, they're still closing up the year. They don't know. But they do an internal settlement, and they're going to send out our appropriations. So presumably they collected some taxes, and we'll find out in March. And then every year in March and August, we'll get an update. And here's how much money is in your TIF.
and then, so when it comes time to use that money for the basin, then we'll be drawn from there.
No, that money is committed to be repaid to our Lake County Stormwater Fund. We're going to incur expenses before there's money in that account or any. You know what, Chuck? I don't know. If there's money in there that we want to use rather than draw from the stormwater account, I don't know how that works.
Well, the money is intended strictly for that regional
Correct.
basin.
That's all it is.
I mean, I don't care. I was thinking we would pay it, but that's fine if we just pay stormwater. If they say they paid a $50,000 bill, then we just shuffle 50,000 over to them.
Yeah.
However that works, I don't care.
How it works, I have to get into.
Okay.
We anticipated we'd be spending money out of that pond before the tax dollars started rolling in.
Right.
So contractually, it was set up with the county that they'll advance the money out of our stormwater account for whatever work we do for the regional detention basin. And then as money is available in the TIF, we'll pay it back to the stormwater fund.
Okay.
Because we'll spend a lot of money for construction before we collect
Oh, yeah.
much.
So
The total cost is going to be years before we have enough.
So speaking of the basin, is there any word on shovels in the ground, any move updates or? I'm just gonna
That-
keep asking because it's frickin', let's go.
Well, the last time we communicated was 2 weeks ago. I thought you were okay with where they're at. They have to submit their permits to the Corps, which EnviroScience is just about ready to do. She told me it would be in the month of January. They'll submit their permits to the Corps. If the Corps has no issues with what's being proposed, it'll take about 90 days for the Corps to turn the permit around. If the Corps says, oh, wait a minute, we've got some issues here, then who knows how long it'll take. The Corps got to come out, look at it, tell us that what they want, and that's a longer process. In the meantime, the next step can be getting rid of the bat trees. Bill reminded me that we got to get bat trees cut down by the end of March, or we can't do construction this summer. EnviroScience is unwilling to commit 100% to which trees need to be cut down because they need the Army Corps to, in their permits, delineate the boundaries of where the work's going to be done. But anticipating that the Corps will go along with EnviroScience's recommendations, the EnviroScience is going to get their bat expert out there with Bill, and we're going to identify the trees and cut them down before we get the permits, because those trees got to come down. We can just cut them and leave them. The rest can be handled by the construction cost, the cleanup and removal of the trees. We just need to cut them at the base and get them down. And we will get that work done in March, before March 31st for the deadline.
And so I'm not familiar with the reasoning behind that, just so they don't grow into this year and nest. And that's why they're gonna cut them down, so they go somewhere else?
Yes, that's, yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, so that
Okay.
the endangered bats don't nest in.
Are they endangered bats? They just don't want bats to have to move in the middle of
Protected, I
construction.
They're protected, right? Not endangered yet. I think they're
I don't
protected.
know.
Is this like the spotted owl thing that happened up in
This is what held
Washington?
us up on our project on Madison Avenue. Same thing. We had
We had to cut the trees down.
we had to wait, cut the trees in a certain time period because of the bat mating season, blah, blah, blah.
And so, I don't know, is there big trees out there? I mean, so something to think about, if there is big trees, I don't know, we can get a logging, there's local companies that might come take the trees, cut them and take them
Is Tibor still,
and give us money or at no cost.
does Tibor Locatosh still, do timber?
I don't know.
I could text him and see.
Because somebody who would want maybe the lumber might, come in, cut them, take them at no cost, or,
If that would work, that would help us. And I didn't think of that. What Bill and I discussed was, well, our guys can at least cut them down
oh,
and leave
okay.
them where they're at. So we don't incur any cost for chopping them up or hauling them out. As part of the construction contract, that will cover taking out the
Okay.
trees we've cut down. So it won't be money out of our pocket, so to speak. It'll be paid for by the stormwater fund.
Some of their phones.
Yeah, but if some company wants
Yeah,
to,
if somebody wants them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We have an old township resident that used to do it. He moved out. He's the one that owned the house on.
Yeah.
And the tree farm on Bull Hall,
Mhm.
way back.
okay. All right. Chief,
Wow.
Real quick, senior center was operating. End of November, they shut them down when the spike hit. She says that they are looking to probably be opening, starting again in February. She has her letter for request already sitting on her desk to come to us. So
For last year?
I can have her send one for last year too, for this year and last year.
The idea was they're supposed to submit expenses that we think are in line with what we intend the money for. The problem with the previous, in 2018, was the senior citizen center used it for traveling to meetings
Right.
and conferences, which we did not want our money used for.
give her number. Give it to me, you're done texting.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
all right. About, well, 80% of our guys got the vaccine for COVID. We're waiting on the next second round, which will start next week. So we'll get half the guys will get it next week, half the week after. So we'll be all caught up with that. As far as mass distribution, been meeting with Bert Meckenbauer and a couple of the other chiefs. We looked at a couple of locations, including ours. And if we end up giving mass inoculations. It looks like the state is going away from that. What they're doing now is giving the vaccines to hospitals and pharmacies and hoping to get it done that way. So we may not end up using like a mass inoculation site. But if we do, it's not going to be one of ours. The areas that we identified as being, there was one in Wickliffe, the one in Menor, and then in Perry would be the one for the east side of Lake County, and that's the old Crandall Ford building. It's got really nice lanes and bays in there, and it's completely empty,
Haven't heard that name in a long time.
right?
Where's that at? Crandall Ford.
Crandall
20.
Ford.
Sure.
It's on Route 20, right by Center Street. It's,
Wow.
Just past
it's a
Red
big
Mill.
building. It's a
Red
big
Mill
car, it was a car dealership. It's got a lot of
Oh
parking.
my goodness.
It's been empty for quite a while,
Mhm.
and it's owned by North Perry Village. So it's not, they're not doing anything with it right now. It is for sale, but they haven't had any bites on it in a while. So that's where we're planning on doing it. We got in there to look around, and it's an excellent place for that. It disrupts nothing. So
But you're saying at this point, that might not happen? That it might be hospitals?
it looks like it is going to be hospitals. I mean, the health department's getting a couple hundred doses a week for the health department, and then the rest of the doses are going to, like, I know 500 to the hospital a week, and I don't know the exact numbers for everyone else, but Walgreens and CVS's are getting them too. So.
I'm sure they'll probably bill insurance companies.
Exactly.
Yeah, they actually can't bill for the vaccine, but they can bill a service
Fee
fee
for administering
for
it
administering it. It's
Okay.
like $15 is what I've been seeing for the
Okay.
service. So.
for 2 seconds worth of work.
Yeah,
Good
right?
deal.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
I only see that because my wife got billed for her vaccine from the hospital, so it was $15.
Yeah.
And she works there, so yeah, whatever.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, but that's where we're planning on doing it if we end up doing the mass inoculation. So it'll be less disruptive to us, but we'll still end up putting people there. We put the first 2 drive-through vaccines that they did for first responders. We had a squad there with Painesville Township with our guys. And then I think the third one, Painesville City put a squad there, and the fourth one, Concord did. And I don't know who they're going to have next week, but they haven't asked us again. So we're keeping track of those expenses because they tell us money will be available for down the road for those, for repay us for that. So they did for H1N1, they did the same thing. Eventually they paid us, so they reimbursed us.
Okay.
As far as the other thing just going on is, I'd like to announce a full-time test, possibly as early as next week, so we can get the studying done to give the test in March. I know Ed's going to be leaving in April. If he doesn't leave, obviously we can't, if something happens and he decides he's not leaving like he said he would, we're not, I mean, we just don't put anybody into that spot. But
What's Ed's last name?
Amiak,
Amiak, okay.
yeah, Ed's planning on retiring in April.
How old is he? I guess can't ask that.
Was it? He's 62.
Wow, is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Him and I are same age.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
How's he related to Dick?
What's that?
How's he related to Dick, the old police?
That's his uncle.
uncle. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
I thought so.
Do we have other, is it just him that's a pending retirement? Is there others?
This year, I have several possibilities, but no one else has said they were going to retire.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long so if we do a test, how long is the test?
2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we do a test now and we do have some other retirements in the
In the
year,
next 2 years, right, which we will, because I'm pretty sure, because I know at least one guy two guys are in drop that'll be coming to the end of drop, and you can't stay after that, so we're going to be having a turnover here in the next couple of years.
And when's our union negotiations for the new contract?
2 years.
Years.
Yeah, two more. This is a 3-year contract, so this year we 2 more.
Oh, it's
2020
was the first year, right?
Yeah, so it's 2021, 26.
So this year, next
Okay,
year.
yeah.
So we'll be negotiating next year. 2022, because it ends at the
Yeah,
end of 2022.
2022, right. All right, so if there's no problem, unless you guys have other, other thoughts on that, I'll go ahead and announce that. We start to get the guys studying for it and get the test in March. All right.
So how many openings? Just the one?
Just one right now, but it'd be good because it'll give us a list. Because like I did say, there's going to be a couple guys I'm pretty sure who are leaving within the next 2 years.
So from that point, then you just pick off whoever scored on the test, or you go from there?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll just have a running list for the 2 years. Usually the test lasts 2 years. The one that we gave, the first one the one you were involved with was 3 years ago. So we're gonna use that same format, everything you did for that test. We're just gonna do the same thing on this one. All right. It's February 14th, 15th, and 16th. We're going to be having a department-wide ACLS class, Advanced Cardiac Life Support. It's a class that it's mandatory for everyone to take. We have our guys set up so that, generally, guys would go somewhere and it's a 16-hour class and they take it somewhere, and we have it set up so we can do it in-house and actually do it in about 8 hours. For each class it takes. We streamline it a little more than they would if they went somewhere else. So it actually is a cost savings, but it's 3 days of overtime that we'll have people here every day. It's a mandatory class, so we have to do it. So that's the way we've set it up in the past, is just have all of our guys take it over a 3-day time and knock it out and get it done. So. All right. I talked to you guys a while ago about buying a vehicle for Gordon to replace the K9 vehicle because his car's rusted.
I have a question. Back to the class. Is that just full-time, or full-time and part-time?
Full-time and part-time.
What if part-timers are full-time somewhere else?
Most of them,
So,
about half, I guess.
so would they get it through their full-time?
Generally,
Okay, so they
Yeah.
may not.
generally they wouldn't take. We very seldom have, unless they don't work somewhere else, is when the guys, the part-timers take it here. But generally,
Okay.
most guys take it on their full-time job because they get paid overtime to take it. So
Okay.
they don't take it here.
So we're not going to be paying for the part-time guys, most likely.
Most likely,
Okay.
if they could get it on their full-time job, they'll be doing it. Yes, I'm sure of that.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Gordon's K9 vehicle, that Impala, it's all rusted out. It was on the list to replace it this year, or actually last year. We were looking last year to replace it. We didn't really find anything on state bid. We're still looking, on a state bid, on a state auction site, because that's what we always get the used patrol cars from the state highway patrol. And we looked at that and we missed one auction. We didn't make it down there for that one. And then there hasn't been anything that's like a Tahoe that's really suitable for him. But we just found out the sheriff's department just got all new cars. And they have 3 SUVs, the Explorers, that would work. 2 of them they committed to Grand River. We put in a request for the SUV that's left. It's a 2017, I think. They just replaced it with CARES funds, so they've got an extra one. Anyways, it sounds like according to the sheriff's department, they're going to give us to us. So
Yeah.
give like no cost. Right.
Well, it makes sense if they got those vehicles for free.
Right.
You know.
So, but they have to run it through. He has to run that through the commissioner. We put in a letter requesting it. I know they gave Grand River the 2 cars. They gave the 2 cars to Grand River. The 3rd one that's still there, we're trying to get. And like I said, they just have to get the approval from the commissioner.
So there's nobody requested it aside from
Nobody
us?
else
Okay.
requested it, and actually, it's be a good thing for them because they do request our dog every once in a while too.
Sure.
So it's kind of a good partnership.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how old is the vehicle that they're giving to us?
3 years old.
Yeah, it's
2017.
2017.
That's something. So I don't even see it on the capital plan anywhere, unless I'm missing it. Did
It was
you?
last year, you said?
Last year. Yeah, it's mixed with mine. It's at 30,000 for the chief's car and the K9 vehicles, what we had on the capital plan.
All right, man, I'm
Would we
looking.
have to
I'm
paint
looking.
it? Would we have to paint the vehicle black?
No, it's black, but they're actually said they would have K&S take the stripes off, the yellow stripes. We would get just a generic black vehicle that we could put. It's for K9. We could put K9 and our emblem on the side, and that's it. we're not running emergencies with it anyways. It's just to carry the dog around, so.
That's good.
And they're gonna leave the light package and radio package and everything that we'd have to put in it, so,
Okay. What,
yeah.
so how long do the dogs, they in service for?
7, 8 years.
Okay, and do we have, how long?
Gordon and the dog have 4 years left.
Okay,
So this will be the last car.
so yeah, that's where I was
Yeah.
going. So, okay.
They're both retiring at the same time or close to it, within months, I'm sure. All
And there's
right.
nobody else gonna be picking up that, that
Interested.
that interested into that, and our guys are interested in that.
Oh, I don't know, maybe, I mean, that's a crapshoot, I mean, if it's 4 years, it's, who knows then,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Hey,
I mean,
Chief,
I know guys that would be right now,
Sure.
4 years isn't.
Yeah, long time.
Chief,
yes.
so I'm just trying to catch up with the capital levy that we had on the replacement plan.
Uh-huh.
So when you showed 30,000 in 2020, that included your vehicle and his? Is that what it
Yes,
was for?
Yes.
How do you get two vehicles for $30,000?
We were gonna get them both from
Used.
the state
Used.
auction.
I mean, your
Okay.
last one was what, 8 or 10 grand?
Yeah, it was 8 or 10 grand. That was actually a high bid on that, I thought.
Right.
Yeah, because we were getting them both at the state auction.
But you don't need a new one, right?
No, I just,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that money just carried over. We didn't do it. And then if we get this one, I'm sure 2017 will last 4 years. So
Yeah.
we'll be all set. But Station 1, if you see on there, they have this year, their chase vehicle comes up.
Do you know when this year?
Yeah, we made Karen advised me we made the last lease payment on it. So this month. So we have to decide what we're gonna do to replace it. I talked to Classic Ford and Junction with their Dodge for the state vehicles, for the state bid vehicles, and neither one are out yet, but they should come out this week or next week, they said. So then we'll know what the price is going to be on those. Last year, the Durango was, I think, 27,000, and the Explorer was 30,000.
Do we look at buying this already? Or we don't want to?
It's 16,000 to buy it outright, but if we could buy a bigger one, that'd be
Okay,
better,
I
because
see.
it's just small. It's not enough room for the guys to get their boots and their equipment and all that.
Okay,
Right now, they run it for EMS, and that works.
because that was the point, right?
Yeah, and it does that, but just it's not big enough to really take a lot of equipment too, trauma bags and things like that.
So what's your request?
So the request is to buy a larger SUV, the Durango, or the Explorer for 30,000.
The Durango's bigger, isn't it?
Durango's bigger and
Cheaper.
they're actually a little bit cheaper, so
They were last year, right?
they were last year.
Probably.
My guess is they were 27. I don't think they're gonna go up a lot for this
Yeah.
year.
I would think the Durango,
Yeah, Durango's fine. I mean, it's nice, very nice.
somewhere over here,
Yeah.
right across the street.
Oh, well, actually, they don't do the state
No, not
bid.
Classic. Our Dodge guy.
Yeah,
down
he
here.
doesn't do state bid over
Oh.
here. Or he hasn't matched it in the past. I don't know. I'll give him
Would
the
you give-
option.
I was gonna say,
Give
give
him
him
the
the
option.
opportunity to
Yeah.
do that first.
I'll give him the option.
Okay.
Yeah. If he'll match state bid, we'll buy it.
Okay,
Last time they wouldn't.
okay. But yeah, give him a shot. And
Okay,
If they do it, they do it. If not, at least we brought it to him, you know?
okay.
Can
We'll do that.
we pull the light package off of that one and put it in a new one?
Yeah, yeah,
Because that was all new stuff, wasn't it?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be able to take everything that's off of that.
And that stuff we got was purposely easily,
So it comes off, yeah.
so we can move it from vehicle to vehicle
Right.
for years, as long as it lasts. It was good. Okay.
Yeah, and give the guys, I give the guys a lot of credit. That's a like new vehicle. They have not put one little mark on that thing.
How
It's
many miles are on
excellent.
it? 5,000?
That's it?
How many miles are on it? 5,000?
Yeah, probably 6,000, no,
Jeez.
5,000, 5, 6, yeah, there's not many.
Yeah.
So Classic's gonna get a nice vehicle back.
Yeah, that's
to
good.
sell.
That's good.
Yeah.
And it's all saved us a big cost for 3 years, you
Yeah.
know? So it worked out for everybody, it sounds
Okay.
like.
So anyways, But that's my thought on that. And, you know, if that's okay with you guys, I'll go ahead and keep pursuing with that. And I will talk to the Dodge State dealer here, what is that, Ganley?
Yeah.
And I'll talk to him also.
Do we need to put a call, I mean, should we call the commissioners to encourage
I
them
think they're
to?
gonna make the decision is that, do they have a meeting today?
Yeah.
They had one today.
Okay, they're gonna make that decision today.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know, I mean, it's,
The sheriff said we could have it, they just said, it sounded like a formality.
okay.
All right, just an update on the dorms projects. Station 2 is done completely, they're in there. We did look at, we had talked about, adding another shower, a couple more showers in the front. And the more we looked at that and talking to the guys and the guys would really appreciate a bathroom in the back where the dorms are. So instead of the 2 showers, I talked to the builder about just 1 shower and moving a bathroom. And it does initially we thought the plumbing wouldn't be able to do that. But I guess he had another plumber come and use a camera to go through everything and said he could do it. So it wasn't as difficult as we thought. So he's going to get me a price or see if it can be done for the same.
Okay.
Chief.
So it's just, it'll add some convenience to the guys. So it'll be a restroom right there where they're sleeping.
And then like 2 brand new showers up
Yeah,
front,
and then
right?
2 showers in the front.
Okay.
I got a question.
Yes.
So I'm back on the vehicle,
Yes.
just from, I thought we were sitting better, so maybe I'm misgetting this. According to the 10-year plan that I set up, I saved when we did this way back when, it shows 2020 and there should be 6.5 million, almost 6.6 million at year's end. And what I'm looking at here, and Mike Patriarch is online, so I'm seeing about $1 million less. But I thought we were sitting ahead of the curve here, so maybe I'm missing my numbers up somewhere. Mike, are you online?
I am. I have to look at that. You know what? I'm going to log off and I'm going to come in right now. So I'll take a peek at that.
All right, we'll see you when you get in here.
We're happy
Thanks.
you could join us.
What's that?
So,
We're happy you could join us.
Clicks.
so I'm looking at I've got an Excel spreadsheet and it's the fire department 2.8 levy, the original submissions. This is what, and I saved it, so I knew what the original plan was. I know we've discussed things since then, but this kind of like tells me it was a Photoshop, a picture of a point in time.
Right.
So when we agree to this is where we're at. And so what I'm seeing is it says 2020. And if I'm looking at this right, and that's why I'm asking, maybe I'm looking at it wrong. It shows the revenue, but it says total resources available towards fire department operations. And it says 2020, it's 6.56 million. So then I went back to the revenues that we have, and as of December 31st.
Yeah, we carried over 2.6 million, which is right where we said we would be on the spreadsheets all along. We've been exactly where we were supposed to be.
Well, and when Mike comes in, maybe we can have him address.
We haven't spent any money because everything's been covered by pretty much.
I know, that's why I'm thinking I did something wrong here. I'm looking at something incorrectly, so that's why I'm asking.
Okay, yeah, no, we were at, carryover of 2.6, and that's exactly where we were this year. So, we're staying where, even with with the wages going up and things like that, we were pretty concerned, but the carryover stayed exactly where we were hoping to be.
Okay.
So maybe when Patriarcha comes in, we can have him even talk to what Mike put in his report, the savings account balance, and how it's moved around and changed. Might be, right, you put the listing of the savings account balance. It might be nice to have Mike chime in on that.
You gotta pass this over here.
Yeah, he might not know how to do it, but yeah, I have to point it out.
And then the ventilation systems are installed. Excuse me. The one at Station 2 is installed. This one is waiting for a couple parts to come in and then it'll be installed, so.
You get some nice new windows up there, huh? How's it
Yeah,
coming? How's it coming up there?
it's really nice.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah. Those dorms are pretty much done. The bathroom, they are just starting.
Okay.
So, in fact, they're supposed to start it today,
The bathroom.
the bathroom. I mean, it's all gutted and the pipes just stubbed out. We're supposed to put the fixtures and stuff in.
Are they doing a shower there?
Yes.
Yeah. Tile.
Just one?
One.
One shower, one.
There's
That's all
one
was
there
there.
and one up here.
Do we already have shower heads and fixtures for it?
Yeah, I think everything was
Yeah,
part of
it's
the,
part of their bid.
Okay, because I was gonna say
they
Yeah.
submit, when they do it, they submit like fixtures
allowance.
option package. So like option A, option B, and then you can pick like, I want this picture of A and this handles of B, and then they
Got it.
like,
The only reason I asked, I got the donation from Moen
Right, and we're gonna have
For-
one extra one.
for 3.
well, let them know.
Yeah,
Save
well,
us a
if
If
couple
we can
bucks.
save some money, maybe they can do something else, you
Right,
know?
yeah, well, we can use it in, if not back there in the front, we'll use it.
Okay.
And I know we talked before, forget, are you painting the hallway? Remember you talked?
Yes.
They're doing that while they're.
No, they're not,
Oh,
we're just
gonna do it? Okay.
Yeah, our guys are gonna do that.
Give them some, yeah.
Um,
And they can send them to my house.
okay.
Yeah, they're gonna paint it and they're gonna put, different lights in there, so it's brighter.
Okay. Oh, in the hallway, yeah.
So you're getting a number for Station 2, right? To do,
Yes,
okay.
yeah,
You'll come back with, to us and figure out,
right,
okay.
yeah. Yeah, I just haven't included the other bid he was gonna put in for the bathrooms. He's gonna change things around and give us a different bid for the same thing,
Okay.
whatever. All right, like I said, the ventilation systems are almost done. They're done at Station 2 here. They're still waiting for some parts. And I think Station 2 still the actual tips that go on the truck, those haven't come in. So there's some back ordered stuff there. And then,
Have them give you an extra one.
yeah,
No, just, I remember when we were in the shop, those things rip or,
oh, okay,
get damaged all the time,
all right, yeah, I can do that.
And then you gotta wait how long to get another one,
Right, yeah, we've been waiting this long for the
Right.
So
Okay, and then AFG grants, I'm working on them now. But the only thing that was left on our wish list that I'm writing for now are the air compressors and for breathing air and cascade systems so that we can fill our own bottles at the stations. We don't have that now. And then a new tech rescue vehicle because that's 20-some years old. I mean, it's in good shape, it really is, but it is the oldest vehicle we have, and we don't run it very often. That's why we can get away with it being over 20 years old. But I think it is probably due to be replaced, especially if we can get a grant for it. So. Okay. Anything else? Any questions? Okay.
I don't think so. Bill,
I had talked to you earlier in November about looking to buy a mini excavator and a trailer.
we're good,
As part of the
very good.
equipment. We aren't going to be needing any trucks this year probably for a few years. So I wanted to use the money from that fund to buy an excavator and a trailer. We got that price of $72,000 back in November, and Cat will honor that price for a little longer. And then as far as the trailer goes, the price is $11,500 for that. The only issues with the trailer, the price is going to increase by 8% on any that they don't have in stock right now, and they only have one in stock, and they're 18 weeks out for a new one. So there is not a urgency to buy this excavator. It's not like there's a job that we're waiting to do that we got to have this excavator for. It's just a matter of before a price increase and then the availability of them.
So the trailer they have now, they have one left. It's what we want.
Yes,
Okay. And if we wait and order one, it's
it's
18 weeks
18 weeks and
plus
and an 8% increase in price.
price.
And that is from O'Reilly Equipment in, I think, they're in
Geauga.
Newberry, somewhere down there. So it's just a matter of, are we going to do it, and are we going to do it now, or are we going to wait?
My thought is if it falls within your capital improvement budget and it's something that would be beneficial, that you move forward with it. But
It's well within.
so yeah, get the trailer now and order the
What's the total cost
Excavator?
going to be? The total expected cost to be there, Bill?
85.
Excavator and trailer together, 83,500.
Yeah, you're sitting really nice in your fund. And on Chief, back to him really quick. I was looking at the wrong account, so he's good too.
Yeah.
So as a coincidence, when we talked to the cat dealer last week to see if the price was still good, he set up to bring a demo out. He said, I want you to see it. Well, they delivered that this morning, so I'm assuming they'll just leave it there,
Oh. Okay.
because that was
New or it's not a
they
used
wanted
one,
us to see it and try it.
Whatever happened to the tree shredder?
It's not a used one, right?
Is that one
Oh,
dead?
That was a
Oh, okay.
grant,
No,
I
no,
think,
no.
and other communities.
So, all right, well, that'll work out.
Billy,
well then.
whatever happened with the tree shredder discussion a few months back?
Uh-oh.
There's a long, deep breath on that one. You notice
He was
that?
prepping for this
We,
one.
we talked about that, and it was just so much money. We weren't sure if any of the other communities wanted to even go in on it. And then as we talked to the company representative of that shredder, and he said sharing it with other communities it's just tough because
PETA.
they can beat it up, and there's a lot of maintenance, and they're not an easy thing to transport from across town on a regular basis. And then it was a piece of equipment that would have to sit outside all year round, and we were going to use it not that
A
often.
couple times.
Yeah, so it may come up again in the future. And we also thought that the grant was going to double. So if the grant doubled, it was going to be something that wasn't going to be expensive for us. Well, the grant did not double. So it's still one of those things. It's a huge expense for as much as it would be used.
Okay.
We did end up hauling more brush out this year than we have in the past. And I think a couple of reasons. I think we just left it open for a couple of months without anybody being there. And I think people were taking advantage of that maybe weren't township residents. And then I think with people being out of work and working from home, they had a lot more time to do that kind of work and take advantage of it. So for right now,
Okay,
that's off the table.
okay.
We replaced the door.
So let me throw one more at you. When I first got in office, we looked at a camera in the sewers. And then it was decided it was too much money, not worth it at that point. Has there been any further thought on that? Is there any benefit to that, or what we're doing now with that company we contract is good enough to meet the need?
Well, that was my next topic, is that we hired Ciro's to do some sewer inspection and cleaning on Stratford. When we hire them to do these kind of jobs, it's reimbursable through stormwater. So they were there for 8 hours last week, and it was just under $3,000 for what they did. And they need to come back for one more day. They identified some roots, and to remove the roots with the root cutter it's just a time consuming.
So if we get reimbursed, no, we're not spending any monies, right?
Well, you're taking away money from the stormwater fund in that regard, so you're still spending your money. It's just at a different pot. I mean, so then it comes down to, is that a good is that a good
Good
move to
use.
make, or is it better to do it the other way? I mean,
Well,
$3,000 is a lot. I know these cameras were like 40 grand, I think, at the time. So how often do you expend so you got to do 3,000, then you got to probably do 3,000 again. How often do you do this?
Not very often. In my opinion, not enough to justify the cost of a camera, because the camera is not something that we've got a crew that we're just going to go out every day and do sewer inspections. It would just be some
Once or
years
twice
we
a
might
year.
not, we might not use it at all.
When you call these guys, Bill, Zero Company, how quick before they respond to what we need?
If it was an emergency, they are quick to respond, but this not being an emergency, they're busy, and if I call them again, it might be 4 or 5 weeks before they come out.
But if it's pressing, they'll
Yeah.
come.
Yes.
I think we
Okay.
talked about this before. I thought we decided between them and the Mentor we use, Mentors, is that?
Mentor came out with with their big sewer jet one time to
Between
help
the
us
two
out.
of them, I thought that we decided that, similar to what we're saying now, that, you
Well,
look at-
that's two different things. A sewer jet,
okay,
like Mentor has, is a $300,000 piece of equipment.
okay.
Would never justify us to buy something
Because
like that.
we have like the trailer mounted, right? Ours
We
is
have
on
a trailer mounted, yes. But the pipe that we asked them for help with was about a 42-inch pipe that ran through the parking lot of the nursing home on Normandy, or the apartments on Normandy, so.
So Ciro goes out and does this work. We don't have people that go out with them, right?
The only reason that we go like on Stratford is for flaggers, because they would charge more if they had to send flaggers.
Okay.
And some of the catch basin lids on Stratford are still concrete, so you have to use the mini
Something to lift them.
loader with the forks to lift that concrete up so
Okay.
that they can get in there.
But then they do the root cutting.
Oh, yeah,
They do all that.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, they do. Mhm. Yeah, so
That's what they do. I mean,
From a
Sometimes-
cost standpoint, I just feel like, let's say even if we use it twice a year, it's $6,000, right? Divided by 40,000, you're looking at 7 years before you.
And by then the technology's changed. Okay.
Exactly,
Good
right.
point, good
Or if
point.
it breaks, you
Right,
know,
Yeah,
then
then you've got that.
and they know what they're doing. I mean, they're gonna be more efficient, I think, right? I mean, Ciro, this is what they do on a daily basis.
Oh,
So-
yes.
So they know what they're doing. Not that we don't, but
Yeah.
when you don't
Here-
do something
here-
every day.
what would take them 2 hours to do might take us 5 hours to do, because we don't do it every day. So,
Okay.
and if you had a camera, then you're looking at buying more, a trailer to haul a camera on, or a box truck, or. So at this point, I think the money we're spending on Ciro is well worth it. So I'm going to call them, schedule them for another day on Stratford to get rid of the roots that are in that line, and hopefully that will solve.
How do they cut the roots out? What do they put in there?
They attach a root cutter, a big spiral thing with serrated edges on it, and they attach it to the sewer jet, and then the high pressure from the water spins the
Cutting head.
cutter.
it's pretty cool. If you've seen like, I've seen like tape, like, and it's pretty sweet how that thing just
Yeah.
cleans up.
And
It's crazy.
depending on the size of the pipe, they have some that fit each size of the pipe, so they're getting the whole diameter of the pipe, so.
So in these older neighborhoods where it's already growing through, so it goes through and it cuts it out, how often you got to come back and do that? I mean, that's a regular maintenance item,
Well,
but
this will be the first time that we, in 40 years, have been there to,
in which neighborhood is this again?
this is on Stratford.
Okay. Wow, that's it, huh?
Yeah.
My house, about every 8 years,
Really?
we had bushes that would grow and tree roots would grow through and they'd have to come out and blast them out.
Hmm.
So in the newer subdivisions, it's a different type of pipe, and I don't think we're gonna have that problem.
Yeah, hopefully
Back then,
those
it was
joints are,
Concrete pipe.
That's what we have, clay
Joints
pipes or
and,
something.
yeah. As the joints open up or the pipe breaks, that's when the
So what's the
roots get
newer
in.
homes got? The PVC?
Yes.
Cool. Cool. Because I planted bushes along my backyard, along the house, and I'm thinking that probably wasn't a good move, but okay.
And then the last thing, is there any interest in us? We put up these holiday banners along Menor Avenue.
Oh, yeah, we want to talk about that.
And is there any interest in getting some St. Patrick Day banners and put up the week of the parade? Maybe 10 or 12 of them just along the parade route.
3 things. We need at least we talked about this, at least double what you have out there.
So for the
Winter.
holiday ones, winter ones, for next year.
For next year, we need to double that.
Yeah, and my thought was, we'd do it this year, and the next year we'll get something other than snowflakes, so.
What do we
have
pay per banner on those?
$75.
Okay, we'll discuss that.
It's probably worth at least ordering one.
Yeah, right,
As a
right.
sample.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, but
So don't order any more yet for the holiday
Holiday.
ones.
Okay.
But we definitely want to do more next year. And in my opinion, I mean, that works well, right? The hometown hero banners come down, those go up. I mean, they're already up there, so it is
do it at the same time.
fairly efficient,
quite
right?
Frankly.
Yes, they would have gone up earlier this year, we just didn't think of it in time and order them in time. But if we start taking the hometown hero banners after Veterans Day,
November,
So-
so
we're almost to Thanksgiving, so if we take those down and put
while you're up there,
the holiday
Just because I
banners
know
up-
it is a somewhat time consuming.
you take 2 or 3 guys,
Take them
right?
down, put them up.
Yeah.
So
Takes 2 or
if they're
3
already
guys.
parked there and up,
Just boom, boom.
boom, boom.
Yeah.
And I think
definitely.
same thing for St. Patrick's. We're gonna get them, take down the holiday, put those up.
Well, my thought for the St. Patrick was only along the parade route for this year, but
Okay.
I would say, yeah, I mean, definitely no more than on the parade route or even
Yeah, that would be.
a handful right in front of Painesville Shopping Center. Yeah, well, I don't know, well, whatever.
Do we want to? I mean, that's.
Or do we want to, should we hold off this year?
We can get, what's his name to make them up, the guy that was making up the signs from before. I'm sure he'd be able to help you out.
What if we hold off this year on doing that? Because, I mean, if COVID's still, there's gonna be talk of whether we do a parade or not. And that's gonna come down to the health department probably. Isn't it? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it's, outside, everybody wears a mask. I mean, whatever, distance from the next party, you can fill the road, and I think people would come because people are itching. But
Yeah.
again, we'll talk to the health department and just get their advisory on if we space, tell people space, blah, 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 if they
well,
want.
if we got some this year, even if you didn't want to put them up,
Anyways,
and then
I
we
noticed.
got some more next year, we'd have
Okay.
twice as many, and we could put them up anyway, even if you don't have the parade, but if you'd rather save that for
So if you put them up for St. Patrick's Day, how long do they stay up where you gotta take them down because it's outdated? And that's a one-day thing.
well, I thought the week prior to, like, the parade's on Sunday, so the Monday of the
Before
previous week, we'd put them up and then take them down first
Monday.
weather permitting day that we can after the parade. Yeah, they're not gonna be up that long.
How much effort is all in that? Are you gonna be diverted from anything else? Not a big deal.
Yeah,
You'll work it in.
Yeah.
So you would take down the winter ones so you take down a winter one, put up the St. Patrick's Day one, or?
no, because we'll be putting the St. Patrick's Day one on poles that don't have anything right now. I mean, the brackets are
Right,
there.
that's true. The brackets are
Because
there.
we had the holiday banners spaced out,
Okay.
and these are gonna kind of be concentrated along the
Certain
parade
area.
route.
Okay.
So,
All right, we'll, you and I'll talk after about
I
that.
think you get a sample.
Yeah, before, but I'll talk to you about something and then
Yeah.
we'll go from there. I have no problem putting some up. It'll be a nice addition.
Yeah, as long as it's, yeah. Sure.
Dress us up a little bit. Okay.
okay.
But yeah, look at.
So I included in my report the salt and overtime totals for December, and it was wrong, so.
I was gonna say, we sure paid for our pleasures the last 2 years. Huh? Jeez.
So I had, I think,
28 and a half.
and then, well, it was supposed to be 428.
Oh.
So,
It's not bad.
yeah, Josh asked me about that, and, because it was a kind of an excessive amount, and then, yeah, I went back and said, nope, I put the wrong number in, it's 428.
I couldn't figure out how we got to 8.
Yeah, so,
December's
and it's,
17
and
is
I'm
the
gonna
only
tell you, it was because of,
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve and
Christmas Eve
Christmas.
holiday, Christmas Day was a holiday, the day after was a Saturday,
Right.
cross sidewalk on
Double-
Sunday,
right.
Yeah.
it was just that whole 4-day weekend thing.
Yeah, you know, I thought that was well worth it because the people that traveled, they were got all kinds of good compliments about that.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, I mean-
Compared to there, like, it was like going night and day. They would go out of Painesville Township and get these other roads. They're like, holy cow. You guys did a great job. That was awesome.
Wow, yeah. So what was the correct number?
400 and,
I changed it in there.
Change it to
yeah,
4.
whatever the 8 was, supposed to be a 4,
I updated it in there.
only half of that, so,
So 428.
yeah, and that's more reasonable.
Better over.
Okay, if you have no other questions, that's all I have.
That was a big snowstorm.
Anybody else, any questions?
Going for record pace here.
I know. All right.
Zoning's gonna get their due this time?
Wow, zoning's gonna get a shot today.
Well, Hartley's
We're gonna
working
need
up
it
here.
though.
Mike, did you see in Mike's report where he had the savings account balance over the years?
I did not look at that specifically.
Okay. I just thought, I don't know if you had any comments or to weigh in on why it changed so much.
Was it up or down? I have to take a look.
Up.
That means we didn't spend as much money.
Oh, okay.
Well, that account balance is everything. So, the, we had like things like for the road, we got like 400,000 that we were gonna spend on the roads this past year that we didn't hardly spend anything out of the road department fund.
Okay.
We had, some of that's timing differences more than anything else.
If I could offer an observation. In 2016 and 2017, when we withdrew money from the general account to the general fund for operating expenses, that was when kind of a lot of things hit the board. So we went to work on several levies over the next several years. Well, those levies have matured now, and they're bringing in a regular stream of funding, which was the intention. We knew we were having, and also in 2016, that's when we were really feeling the effect of some of the taxes that were taken away by the governor and the previous governor as part of his Balance the Budget Act.
Then he ran for
That's why I
president.
think that we had 2 years where we withdrew from the savings, but typically every other year we're contributing, typically $500,000 to our savings account.
And that's all the funds?
Yeah.
Okay.
Our formula is real simple. At the end of the year, whatever money we have left over in the general fund that is not encumbered goes into a savings account. Just a simple, we didn't spend this much money, so we're going to shove it over to the.
From the general fund.
All money goes to the, well, no, I won't say that. I'm sorry.
I'm actually
Yes.
looking at this STAR program. The interest rates right now are like ridiculously low. It's like 0.25%. And, there's goofing around, transferring monies back and forth and everything like that. But we don't do any long-term investing. We're not really allowed to do any kind of long-term investing, but we don't screw around and do anything with that. But what we do is we pay cash for things when we need it, which I feel gives us a purchasing power advantage far in excess of 0.25%, tying money up for longer than.
So is that all general fund?
Yeah, it's all, well,
So like,
so here's what'll happen, okay? So, we have, in our checking account and that, we have operating expenses that charge us fees. Every check is 50 cents, every this is that, blah, 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 this and that. And our typical bank fees for the year would be around, I don't know, probably maybe $400 a month. So say $5,000. Our normal bank fees for the bank. However,
to write checks?
If it's the whole checks, deposits, everything. I know, sounds goofy. Anyways, we get what they call a service credit. The money, if we keep a certain amount of money in our bank account, we get a service credit to offset those bank fees.
Okay.
But because of the rates being so low, we need more money in there to hit that service credit. So while it's not necessarily showing up as interest income or income from those monies, it's in there in the form of zero bank fees.
So if we're getting a fee for every check, so we do all of our payroll with direct deposit, is there fees for that?
Yeah, there's fees for everything.
Okay, I just didn't know if we could do expenses as direct deposit as well and save.
The checks are the most expensive things.
Okay.
So now the stuff now that we're doing on the credit card, we're getting actually a rebate back on that.
I just wonder, can we do expenses as direct deposit? that an option?
We're doing is, it's not direct deposit, but it's ACH, which is, and we're doing as much of that as we can, yes.
Okay.
We're either doing the ACH or this credit card,
Well, so I know
kind of
like,
like a debit card to a certain extent. And, of course, with direct deposit for all the payroll checks.
so if we do say cell phone reimbursement for somebody, instead of writing a check, can we do direct deposit?
Yeah, you could, but I mean, I don't want to say this. We're trying, we will eventually be 100% electronic at some point in time here in the near future.
Okay.
We're moving towards that. I'd say we're probably, if I had to guess, I'd say we're probably 75% there. Probably 75% of our transactions are electronic. I don't want to call them direct deposit, but they're electronic as opposed to paper.
Okay.
As you can see from the number of checks you're signing here,
There's a stack over there
they go
too.
down a little bit, but they used to be,
Okay. Okay.
you know, some places, yeah. We're moving as much electronic as we can.
I mean, can we
And-
require, we could require vendors that everything's paid electronically, can't?
Yeah. Well, first we like to do it with this debit card or credit card because we get a couple of percentage points on that. And if they don't do that, if they'll accept electronic payment, we'll do it that way. And then some, we just write the checks for. A lot of the check stuff like that, it's like one time, you know, buy a truck for 50,000 or this or
Yeah.
that. And, you know what I'm saying? Those kinds of things.
Okay.
So let me, this is a simple question. So when it says in 2020, we deposited $1,084,000 to savings, that's from all funds combined, leftover money from all, is that correct?
Yeah, that money there's, how do I say this? We got a pile of money. I could transfer all of it to savings if I wanted, you know, obviously we got to have some monies in that. We need to have enough money in our checking account to cover those service fees and stuff like that. And then I think just as a matter of fact, she's been pushing monies over there. But it's all really the same. And even though it's quote unquote in a savings account, the difference between it being in a checking account and the savings account is 0.25% interest rate.
But some of that is fire levy money, some is road money, some
Yeah,
is general fund.
I mean, it doesn't really matter because it's all one pool of money.
Okay. So that's.
In
that's
other words,
just-
there's not like a separate checking account for each one of these things that we're moving stuff around. It's just more of a.
So you're maintaining the
Internal.
books in the background, but okay, I'm good. I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned about the other accounts where they're all at, and that's the reports that we get.
Yeah.
So I'm following it that way.
Right.
How you guys are working it behind the scenes is
Right.
just another
So
discussion.
like your, if you look at your very first thing that you get there is your fund status report.
Yep.
And that tells you your balance. That includes everything, money in checking and money in savings. So that fund status report shows you what how much money's in each department.
Okay, I'm good.
Just to be clear, that money that I consider in the savings account is unencumbered. It's in the savings. We don't intend to use it this year unless the trustees decide to dip into the savings. I just want to make sure we're clear. You said all funds.
But that's even more than that because there's money in the checking account that we're not encumbering either. So.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
just so
wanted-
you know that's not just like, hey, that's our money that we're sitting there that we're not encumbering. We got a lot more money than that we're not encumbering that we know we're going to be carrying over. You know, like for the fire department, we know we're going to be carrying over, you know, a couple $1 million. Like this past year, like 2.4 million was our carryover. And we're hoping that increases or doesn't decrease too much to hit our 10-year thing, but I think we're kind of on track with that. And the money coming in and going out could be different based on grants, based on this year with all the COVID stuff. Every year it's something different. This year was probably higher in both expense area and income area just because of that. But even money that we don't get, like let's say the OPWC, the money that they pay directly to the contractor, we report it as coming in and going out, even though we never see it. But we have to report for that whole thing. That make sense, Chuck?
I am with you, baby.
We're good. You just sit back and relax and eat some popcorn. Today's National Popcorn Day.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
do we make a resolution for
We
that?
should have a
Honoring
resolution
National
and-
Popcorn
and
Day.
example.
Okay,
It's gotta be American popcorn.
can we let the zoning finally have their day in court here where they got almost a full hour to talk?
Yes, go ahead.
So I just want to continue the conversation about the amendment to section 6 regarding the line of sight, safety triangle. There were concerns about perhaps the measurement being too strict on our residents, the 30 feet being too much. There were some concerns about whether or not it was necessary at all. And so and you guys have the authority to make the amendment and vote on that decision without it having to go back before the zoning commission. So before moving forward to the hearing, if you guys wanted to have a discussion about it and see if there was any reason why you guys wanted to discuss that.
Yeah, so I had a question. So
Okay.
what we have in place right now is more restrictive than what this change is proposing, right? This change
Yes.
would actually allow fences closer to side yards,
Yes.
right? So we have something that is restrictive right now that we're going to loosen those restrictions slightly. And the question is, how much do we lessen the restriction? So if we, approve the change, it's not making anything stricter on our residents whatsoever.
No. It's only alleviating a burden.
Okay.
What's the case number on that one?
08.
Yeah, it's
08.
08.
Okay, I flipped through 6 and then through 5. Okay, 8
Mad
now.
clicker over there.
So, I don't know. For instance, you gave an example of Hawthorne
Yeah, 212 Hawthorne.
because they don't have it.
Yes, I gave the example of what used to be permitted prior to 2017 when we made the change that is in effect now. So 212 Hawthorne and the neighbor who's on the corner of Fairgrounds and Buckeye, both
Yeah.
of them have fences 20 feet from the edge of the roadway, and that's what that looks like. And when you look at the aerial image I provided with the safety triangle overlaid, you can see which portion of their fenced-in area would be then cut out with today's restrictions. So it's really not that significant of an amount that they'd be missing. But if you're looking at 212 Hawthorne and looking at the setbacks as they are in that specific instance, a safety triangle wouldn't necessarily
Be
benefit any more than what is currently
Well,
there.
That's what I was going to get at. So I see this as what they have is fine, and I don't see it causing any issues. Where I see that implementing this in this scenario would just be unnecessary. There's no reason that wouldn't be needed on that fence. So
But it's not permitted now. What they have now is not permitted.
was
No,
it
it
changed?
in
used to be.
2017.
So we changed for some reason. 17 we made it worse, and then now we're trying to lessen that,
So
right?
in that graphic you show, is that a 20-foot triangle?
No, which, sorry.
It says-
That's 30 feet, and that's 20, that measurement there is the 20 feet from the edge of the road. That's showing the distance the fence is from the road. This is the 30-foot triangle.
Gotcha. Okay.
So in that instance, I think that we would be, what we have in place is unnecessarily burdening the homeowner with regulations that really is unnecessary. Now, you look at 696 outrigger, right? I guess you could make a case there because of the sidewalk being closer to the driveway, that would be warranted in that other graphic you gave us.
Mhm.
So do we look at maybe if, what's the measurement from there to there? Do we make some sort of, if it's from the nearest corner or driveway with, 100 feet? that would fall into place and we get rid of it outside of there. What I mean is, so if somebody in Hawthorne doesn't need it, wouldn't be burdened by this change, and we could get rid of what's on the books from 17, implement what you're suggesting, but make it in a scenario where it would really make sense versus Hawthorne, you're putting that on those people. Let's say today they wanted to put a fence up. They couldn't do what they have for no reason. It really doesn't impact anybody. It doesn't cause a safety issue. If they wanted variance, they'd have to pay the money, come to BZA, blah, 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 blah. So do we get rid of that, put what's on the table today, but with changes, find some sort of some rational middle ground that if it's just looking at, I don't know, 100 feet from the edge of the driveway to the fence, that this would be required, or whatever.
Still think that's, I mean, Gabe, I like where you're going with that, but I still think that's too much. So when you look at like 696 Hawthorne, I mean, that's was that C Ray a cul-de-sac up? Not Hawthorne, I'm sorry. This is Outrigger. Is that C Ray cul-de-sac? The 696 Outrigger? It probably is, 'cause it's at the far end with that house number. So it's gotta be. I mean, look where that driveway is up by the road, and there's gonna be a sidewalk.
The problem there is that sidewalk cuts back, so it could be.
Oh, is that the one that we had the BZA case for where they cut it? Yes. So the sidewalk would follow this line. And what the biggest issue was for the neighbors was there's a bus stop somewhere over here and they wanted to be able to see their kids standing there for the bus.
I mean, so the other concern is,
Well, that's what we're addressing here.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
so we could end up with a lot of fences right along sidewalks, which, my opinion, I mean, it doesn't create a friendly atmosphere if you have sidewalk and then a tall fence right next to it. I mean, it just,
I don't see anything wrong with that.
If you live in a corner lot,
I
that's what
think,
you want.
That's what you want. Yeah. I don't
Yeah, if
see
you live in
anything
a
wrong with
corner
that.
lot, you want that
What's
fence
wrong with
right
that? I
there.
mean, there's.
And then, because if you make them move it, then you take away the use of their property.
But 20 feet from the road.
Trustee,
Yeah.
if I may, during the public hearing, when the house across the street from 696 Outrigger was applying for a variance, one of the Board of Zoning Appeals members turned around in the driveway across the street where the fence went out right next to the driveway. And his claim was, he was very concerned. He said, as he was backing out, he was totally in the blind, could not see anything up C-Ray. If there was pedestrian, a kid on a bike, a car coming, he was totally in the blind to be able to back out of that driveway.
Which house?
So across,
The one,
so
is that 708?
Hang on, Rich. Hang on, Rich.
Okay.
this house across the street put up their fence when we required the 20-foot setback alone. This bends in and there's a house here. And when the BZA member was going to look at that property, he turned around in the driveway
Behind their house.
behind the, across the street.
up on a cul-de-sac kind of, right?
Yes, yes. Without looking at it, it's a little difficult to explain, but he backed up and realized that this fence that was the 20-foot requirement, because of the way that the road bends, he was blinded and he couldn't see who was coming up on the sidewalk because of that, which is why you guys were discussing the safety triangle being applicable when a driveway is present. So, where are we?
So this is 696 Outrigger.
What?
You want C-Ray?
Yeah.
Well, the picture you gave me, 696 Outrigger, it says.
Well, it's on the corner of Outrigger and C-Ray, so it faces Outrigger.
Oh, that's my fault. I misaddressed it.
Oh.
Will you zoom out for me? I'm sorry. Yeah, that guy, right there. There he is. I
Okay,
guess I
sorry.
didn't-
So what do you, okay,
So this one here is the one that Rich is speaking about currently across the street.
okay.
So this is the 20-foot, and because it bends that way, when he was backing up, he couldn't see anything.
This guy?
the BZA member. He came to look at the property
Correct.
or the case. And he utilized this driveway to back up and see how he would be blinded from view. And that was the reference for, okay, well, we need to address it differently in this instance, so we don't.
I
have the
think
same
that's,
issue.
quite frankly, I think that's, you're on a cul-de-sac. That's,
That's what I mean, I don't know, people like corner lots, but I think they're less desirable because of
but I mean,
your
until
backyard
you're,
and side yard.
you're backing
I
out, yeah, but you're backing out into a cul-de-sac. I don't see that being a basis to rewrite our, to a zoning code for
Well,
that.
this was after the 2017 change.
So what is it
This
now,
instance
Harley?
is
What does it
under-
say now? It's so,
Right now.
let's review. Hold on. What
Yes.
was it in 2017 prior and what was it changed to?
Okay, so prior to 2017, we simply required a 20-foot setback from the edge of the travel portion of the road.
And that's gotta be, as long as that's.
Which is
outside
the
right
picture of
it's gotta be
Hawthorne.
Outside
Okay.
the right of way, right?
Yeah, well, no, actually 20 feet from,
Yeah, because it's 30 center is right away, so 20 is
Yeah,
outside,
yeah,
so it'd be,
yeah.
because it's 15 per lane, right? So
Mhm.
really 30, put you about 35 feet outside center lane, so it'd fall about 5 feet outside your right of way.
So, but we required 20 feet from the edge of the road, that setback. And then in 2017, we changed it from the edge of the roadway to you cannot exceed the actual
Side of the house.
setback.
And that's that
And that's so
permitted currently.
Big overreach. I don't like
PDF,
that at
right?
all.
So there's an example of that in the folder.
I don't
And
like that at
actually,
all.
I don't know why
please
we
correct
voted
me if
for
I'm
that.
wrong, but I believe it was the actual setback or the required minimum front setback. So if a home is required to be 50 feet from the road and they're 60 feet, they can extend a 6-foot fence 10 feet towards the road to meet that 50-foot setback.
Can
Does
you
that make
repeat that,
sense?
please?
So the way that it's written, what we permit now is it is an either or. Either the actual setback, so the actual wall of the structure, or the required setback. So if we require a home to be 50 feet from the road, but the home was built 60 feet from the road, they would be permitted to extend a 6-foot fence 10 feet towards the roadway to the 50-foot setback minimum. They wouldn't be permitted to extend beyond that, though.
And that's because
That's-
your side yard is like a front yard, and that's why, I mean.
Yeah.
I think we make mistakes, and I can say that I think approving what we did in 17 sounds like it was a mistake. Because I think it's too restrictive on the homeowner and the property owner. Based on what I see was the Hawthorne picture, what used to be allowed, to say that that's not allowed anymore, I feel like that looking at it now and seeing the difference in what's being proposed, what's on the books now, a change from in 2017, is too restrictive, I believe. And it doesn't give people the right to use their property the way they want to, without it really bothering anybody else. If we're going to do something like this being proposed, I think there has to be a stipulation on distance from the driveways or edge of roads, so that in an instance like Hawthorne, those people can still do that. I don't see a reason that Hawthorne today couldn't come in here without having to go in the BZA and do what they did. But under this new rule, they would have to make some funky corner on the back side of their fence that really does nothing
And
for
then,
that scenario.
and then the guy who has the other fence, there's no restriction on him. If I understood the conversation correctly before, Harley, right? So he would do nothing. The other guy would have to put a triangle, but the other dude wouldn't. So you basically got a little V in here like that, in the, between the
Well,
properties.
so both of them are corner lots, so they would both.
They would have to create
They
this
would have
weird.
to
Okay, but what about the part
create
by
the-
his driveway, though?
Now, the part by his driveway, he is not. and
There's
that-
nothing in the
yeah,
code about
There's
that.
nothing in the code about his driveway, which does create a line of sight
Can we,
safety
can I,
issue.
let me
So
ask,
here's I'm sorry.
this,
I think it's time to
Kick it back.
Kick
Cut
it-
yeah, I
cut it out.
like what I don't know how far we've gotten with this, and I like the thought and all this, but I just, this part has got some real heartburn. And I understand, Josh, you make a good point. You talk about the fence right on the sidewalk. So the house on C Ray is right there, but the way the house sits is kind of nice. The other one I like is at the corner of Clipper Cove, and that's the one I drive past every day. So the guy lives in the corner of Clipper Cove and Pebble Beach, and his fence is back a little bit. It still extends off the side of the house a little bit, but that's this one right here.
looks good.
Well, that
See,
looks good, but
sidewalks
under the new proposal, Josh, he would have to put a T or a V over there. Yes, he would, Harley, wouldn't he? Come over here and look at this if you would, please. So this is the corner of Pebble Beach and Clipper Cove. Is that guy okay? So this is up, it's been up for years.
Assuming it's
He
on his
was building
property.
under this new proposal, would he have to put a safety thing into it?
I don't believe so, actually. Can I use your,
Of course you may.
Because his fence is,
his fence might be 30 feet from the road.
It's not, because I measured it, I believe, but go ahead, that's what you're doing?
So from, oh, no, he's from the sidewalk.
So from the sidewalk, you gotta be 30 feet. That was the extra part.
Edge of the road, right?
Oh, no, he'd have to cut it.
He'd have to
Yes,
cut
this
it.
is-
Yeah, he'd have to cut about,
I don't like any of this. I don't like what we have on the books, and I don't like this proposed.
about 10 feet. So,
oh, so see,
yeah, so he would have to cut
Oh.
his.
and I don't see why, I guess.
Yeah, and this is a nice, and there's no obstruction for the neighbor, there's no obstruction for the kids. People, I walk this all the time. It's a
Right.
nice, it's fine.
I think, quite honestly, in my opinion, we need to address what's on the books now. I think it's too restrictive.
I agree.
I think we need to change that and make it way less restrictive, dating back to what it was before in some sense. And if we're going to implement something like this, which could have its application, proper application, I guess, but it's got to be, if we're going to do it, I think that we have to find X amount of feet from the edge of the driveway or the road, so that, and again, I'm just using it as an example because that's what you gave us, Hawthorne. That would be completely ridiculous to have them do that. Maybe there's a situation where, like I said, the driveway's, right here and the fence is coming up and the sidewalk's there. Maybe that's something that we would have to address, but
And if there's also
So,
corner lots, can then also say, no fence closer than X number of feet from the right-of-way line.
so,
I mean, that would make me feel a lot better if the fence couldn't be closer than 5 or 10 feet from the right-of-way line on a corner lot.
So if you back it up, I think there's some compromise to be made. You can, I understand we're all kind of like in the same area, but a little bit different. You can move that fence off the sidewalk. If the driveway that we're concerned about is, the property down the way is 100 feet down the road, who the heck cares?
right.
I mean, how much room do you frickin' need to
That's
have for
exactly.
protection for a
Right.
kid on a bike?
And then we have all these funky lines everywhere that's unnecessary,
Property owners have property rights, and
Exactly.
when we overthink this, we sometimes think too restrictive on what they can do with their property, and that's not the intent by anybody or the people who even suggested this, but I think it's kind of where it's going to.
so as a suggestion, a way to address both sides, my suggestion would be to remove item F from section 6.
Hang on a second, let me catch up with what you
Let
got.
me pull that up here.
So we're back on the
Where's
zoning
this?
case number 8.
Yeah, I'm trying to
correct?
find it here.
And, okay, and
Yes.
so what page are you on?
Where-
This is 6.4, so it's quite a ways,
Mike, you missed one thing.
because it should start with section 5, I believe, that document.
Okay, so there we go, section
I'm not there
BCA.
yet.
So I
Hang
think
on.
it's like page 20 of the entire
Oh,
document.
no, I only have, where is this document?
It's in the reports from last meeting.
Last meeting, okay. No, I don't see it anymore.
I don't think it's in this
What
meeting.
case is ZC 06?
08.
08.
So you said
This
6.4.
one?
Yes.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, page 6.4 on the bottom right-hand corner of the pages
Oh, page
themselves.
6.4 there. I'm
Or-
looking for bullet number 6.4. Okay.
Yeah, or page 20, I believe, of the entire document.
Gotcha.
that's
Okay, I'm
correct.
back with you now. So is everybody there?
Page 20 of the doc.
I believe so, yeah.
Lower right corner is 6.4.
You said what section?
It's, section, what is this, 6.13F?
When it's highlighted in
Okay.
yellow. There you go.
So removing F. Removing the last paragraph of E,
Which is already
which is
struck.
proposed to be struck with this change.
So just remove it, remove the strike or remove the,
Just, I guess, maintain the
Omit it.
strike. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Um, and removing the figure 6.2. Okay, so we're going to have to do a lot of changes. So obviously it's going to get kicked back, but this is my suggestion that to move forward to the zoning commission again to appease everyone. Redacting that, so basically we would be at the 20-foot setback requirement that we were previous to 2017.
Okay.
Now,
And
20
then-
foot, let me ask clarification on that. So the 20-foot setback, is that from the road right of way or from the, what about the
The
sidewalk?
Edge of road.
The edge of the
Edge of the
road.
road.
And
So
we
it's
can
about
include,
35
we
feet.
can include a required setback from the sidewalk. So if a sidewalk
Or
is
from the right of way line. maybe.
from the right-of-way line?
So make it 35 feet, because 20 feet from the
Well, the
road-
right of way goes into your tree lawn, doesn't it?
Right of way is different everywhere. It can be
Oh,
different.
those 15,
It's
30
not-
feet center line, no?
No, it can be 40, 50.
Okay.
It can be all kinds of numbers.
So
Okay,
what are you
so-
saying then, Josh? Hang on a second, Harley.
So I'm saying.
I'm sorry.
I think it's the same thing Harley is saying. It's right, whatever the,
So why complicate with road right away? Do edge of road, but must be at least X from edge of sidewalk,
So there's
at least
either
X
ors.
from edge of,
inside
Right
edge of
of way.
side.
So you push the fence off the sidewalk, so you can't have what was done at the corner of Sea Ray and
Right.
Outrigger.
So you can have Hawthorne,
You can have Hawthorne,
but you can't have what they did at Sea Ray.
right? And so a compromise then is, and it's kind of goes back to where we're at currently, where we're going, I think you said on the side of the house for the fence, or 6 feet off the side of the house on the fence, you go back. You're allowing it to go closer to the sidewalk, but not all the way to the sidewalk.
well, like
Correct.
Is my thinking correct?
Hawthorne's probably,
Yes.
Hawthorne's really close to the sidewalk.
The fence is 10 feet from the edge of the sidewalk.
It is?
Yes.
And that's not that bad.
That's good. I don't
No,
think you need
it's-
any more.
But between 9 and 10 feet approximately, if you're measuring with the GIS tool. I think I memeasured about
I think that's
9.62
more
on
than
the
enough.
computer.
All right, Mr. Engineer. And-
And then in addition to this,
No, that's good.
Plus, I mean,
I can redo the line of sight safety triangle and have it be applicable to edges of driveways, things like that. And we can maybe lower that down to 20 feet because the length of our required parking spaces is 20 feet. So maybe, our approximate car's length, we can require 20 by 20 line of sight safety triangle and do that from driveways, things like that. And if we get a complaint about,
so like this, I understand because it's right off the driveway, right? That serves a purpose. Now, but is by putting it 20 feet off the road, at least 10 feet from the sidewalk edge, will that alleviate some of this where we won't even need this?
well, the idea for the 20 by 20 now would be to measure it from the edge of this driveway, not the edge of the property line. And it wouldn't just be, it wouldn't just affect fencing, it would affect hedges, shrubs, things like that. to
Anything.
ensure- Yeah, so we would have our 20 by 20 safety triangle, and it would be treated the same way as like the road department does. We're not gonna go out and try to look for these things, but if we get a complaint and someone says, I can't see,
Right.
we can go out, address it, and say, okay, these are our requirements.
I think that's the best way. Let's look at it that way, because this way we're giving property owners back more right of their property, which I think is important. So I think we need to backpedal, get rid of some of the stuff we have on there, and maybe implement a little bit of a safety change, but somewhere in the middle where we still don't push too much on limiting people's rights to put a fence up on their property. They buy a corner lot because sometimes you get a bigger lot, but then if we're making them shove their fence so far in, it alleviate, and then they got this dead space, and I don't think there's a reason for it.
I don't understand the allure of a corner lot because of
Well,
your
sometimes
backyard's a side yard. I just don't,
sometimes you get a bigger lot, that's why.
It's not a lot I would buy. I get your point, but some people prefer those.
You
They've
got our
got their own
first house
taste.
had one, and you got a bigger yard because of the way it's built, so.
so we would set up something that 20 feet from, minimum of 20 feet from the edge of the road and a minimum of 10 feet behind the right of way line,
Sidewalk,
Okay, so you want.
but they don't have sidewalk.
that's 20 feet from the edge of the road.
Yeah, so in this
Difference.
instance, so Hawthorne, for example, I believe they are, without looking at it, how far are they off the right-of-way line? Maybe about 10 feet,
They're way more than 10 feet off the edge of the road.
off the edge of the road, yeah, they're 20 feet off the edge of the road.
So they're 10 feet
And-
outside, so you had 20 feet off the edge of the road, 10 feet, so they're at least,
5 feet,
Yeah.
5 feet off of the right-of-way line, where they are now.
which I think is fine. I mean, have you been there? That's so far off the road. I don't think pushing it back any further is gonna solve any.
Okay.
I don't think there's any, let me
So-
rephrase
so-
that. I don't think there's any reason we would make them push that fence any further.
So some distance, I mean, it's easy to say off the back of sidewalk, but what if there's no sidewalk currently?
Then it's 20 feet.
Then it's the
20
20
feet from the
feet.
edge of the road.
Then there's no, what if the road's not in the middle of the right of way? What if the road is off center and you say, could somebody put their fence right on the right of way line?
Yes.
Do we want that? I don't think we do.
I don't understand what you're saying, Josh. Why don't you clarify,
So
please?
somebody could put their fence right at the right of way line.
How?
If the
If
right
they're
of
not
way,
encroaching on the
say the
right
right
of
of way is
way.
50 feet wide, or say the right of way is 40 feet wide, I don't care. But maybe the road's not centered in the right of way.
All right, well, then you write the code, then you say,
At least 5 feet
you
off
list
the
it as
road,
you
right?
want, but you also have another requirement. You got to meet all these requirements. And if the road right of way is as you're describing, that requires them to push it back, but it allows everybody else under normal conditions.
So simple would be like this: 20 feet from the edge of the road, 10 feet from the edge of the sidewalk. All lines must be at least 5 feet from the road right away edge.
Yeah.
Well,
So there's all these
and to-
requirements you got to
Yeah,
make.
something, yes, that's my, I mean,
I
don't want
didn't even think of that option, but yeah, so if that happens, you got to have the
You
extra
just
thing
do
in
lay it
there.
out like that: 20 feet from the edge of the road, at least 10 feet from the inside edge of the sidewalk, and all measurements must be at least 5 feet from the road right away.
inside edge or out, back edge.
Hey,
front
guys,
edge. Which edge of sidewalk?
can I suggest something? You don't need to complicate this beyond complication. Not all roads have sidewalks.
We know that.
We have roadways in this township that we own with different right-of-way widths.
We know that.
Just the original language for this section, if we just restore that, it gives a full car length for any driveway where a fence next door to them cannot block their vision. If-
You have that language, Rich?
Huh?
Do you
Of
have
course
the
we- Of
language?
course we have it. We've got archives of past resolutions.
Can you provide us with the old language,
Why was
please?
it
Or
changed?
Harley?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
Now, weren't there some issues though, where this was a timing issue, Rich, where we had to get these done to meet something with this business going in on there in Menor Avenue? Is that not an issue?
Well, it is a kind of a timing issue. Yeah. I'm going to suggest that you guys consider possibly approving this by amending it to return to the language with the 20 feet of clearance between the edge of the roadway and a fence on any front yard. It allow the 6-foot fences all the way up to 20 feet, within 20 feet of the edge of the traveled part of the road. We can take that language from the past resolution and insert it. And if you approve this, you know, or maybe close the case with that order.
We get 25.
We will send you a copy and it postpone the decision on this till the next meeting. Matter of fact, if you close all 4 of these cases, maybe postpone the decision on all 4 of them until the next meeting, which will give you time to see this in print before you actually make a final vote.
So at
If you close it and then you don't like what he shows you, then we're stuck.
so
Hey,
last,
Rich, real quick, Harley's saying that old language, the only thing that's there that we definitely didn't like, I believe, was having a 6-foot fence in your front yard, 20 feet off the road edge.
Yeah, that was pushed hard by one zoning commission member, Mr. Novak.
To get rid of it or include it?
No, Dave did not like fences at all in front yards. The zoning commission figured they could live with a 3-foot fence in
Yeah.
front yards.
Like a split rail or something, but I,
that's okay.
6-foot fortress fence, I don't know, front yard.
Yeah, so
Right.
Rich, I think they want to prohibit the 6-foot fences in front yards and then permit them in the side yards of corner lots.
With some restrictions
Yeah,
on
and I'm not,
offset from the right of way.
yeah, and even if you guys were to,
Oh,
so I feel like, and Rich, how do you feel if they just keep the redaction of the corner lots are subject to front yard height limitations and then take out item F altogether? That should get them what they want, well, and removing the figure 6.2. And remove,
6'2"?
Yeah, 6.62.
yeah,
Figure 6.2.
6-2.
6-2 figure.
Yeah, so keeping the redaction on E, removing F, and removing figure 6.2 from section 6, then you'll also have to remove the definition of line of sight safety triangle and that figure in section 5.
But don't we want some sort of line of sight?
Yeah, but we can
Well,
get
we-
rid of that
we
now
can
and then
do that
have them
again.
come
Back.
back.
Have them come back.
Yeah, with an updated lot. Get rid of all this so we get back to some less restrictive for, and then get in the line of sight and
So it's going, sorry, so we're going to pass it with these changes discussed. And then it's going back to zoning to readdress the concerns on the line of sight.
safety triangle.
The
Right.
safety triangle. We don't like triangles. I don't like triangles.
In
Rectangle.
section E,
Um,
where we say fences in front yards, no closer to the nearest edge of traveled portion of the roadway than 20 feet. Can we, in there, can we also insert something about must be also a minimum of 5 feet
from road right away.
from road right of way?
yeah, we can amend that and do the changes.
Why don't
Okay.
you just make it 25 feet from the edge of the roadway then?
Well, because again, don't get Josh started, but all the road right of ways are different. So some are 30, some are 40, some are 50. So this way it keeps it uniform.
Well, you keep it, no, you keep it uniform. Forget the road right of ways.
Yeah.
The only thing standard is that the roads all have an edge of the traveled part of the road. So make it one distance from the edge of the traveled part of the road.
I think the concern is making sure that even at that 25 feet, there could be instances where we have people right on the road right of way line, or even encroaching on it, depending on how big the road right of way is.
Yeah,
They can't be right on the road. They can be right on the road right of way line. If it's a 60-foot right of way, there's going to be 20 feet usually between the edge of the pavement and the right of way line.
which is what I guess my concern is. I don't want them right on the edge of the road right away. I'd rather them be at least 5 feet behind.
Why should somebody that lives on a 60-foot road be penalized as opposed to the person on a 50-foot road or a 40-foot road?
That's true too.
This is all less restrictive than what we currently have.
Well, so is what's on paper in front of you right now. You know, here's the thing.
Here's what I say.
You guys need to know what you really want. We can make that happen, you know, but you have to be able to define what you really want. And if we kick this back to zoning, we're gonna create a logjam, I think, but we can do that.
All
You know?
right, then do we need, should
We have 20 minutes here. We can make
pass
this
these
decision.
today with modifications to the, is there any questions on the other three?
No, I have no.
Okay.
I have
So
no
on,
questions.
so on 08, it sounds like we would pass it.
Get rid of F.
Yeah, so
Get
we
rid of
would,
the redaction.
so we would, in E, we would keep what is deleted.
Yeah, so basically you wouldn't even need to say anything there.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
remove
so-
item
right.
F,
So remove item F, renumber or reletter the
Get rid of
following,
6.2.
and remove 6.2, figure 6.2. And then in section E,
Just make it 25 feet. It's a compromise.
you gotta do a minimum
3 feet from road right away.
5.
like he's saying, some of those yards, you can push it way back. I mean,
I don't
we're
think it
off.
does it?
Bill, how many roads do you think have a 50 or 60-foot right of way in the township? He's like, well, let me show you.
Quite a few down in Township Park.
Oh yeah, there's a ton.
You know what? Why don't we change it to no fence shall be installed within 20 feet of the edge of the traveled portion of the road, but in no case shall any fence
Be close.
be closer than 5 feet to the edge of any road right of way.
There you go.
I'm gonna write it down.
That's what we said before. It's the same exact thing.
Oh yeah.
So we're on the same page.
Yeah,
That's what we
that's
said.
right. It is the same thing.
Okay. Well, I'm finally giving up. I see where you guys are stuck on the right of way.
And we thank you for that.
Yeah.
We thank you for that, Rich. That's why we love you.
No closer than 5 feet from the edge of the road right of way.
Well,
Thank you. And then while
we're just beating the hell out of you. Keep going. You're eventually going to succumb.
Adding an additional item, and I put it in my reports, you guys, it might have been confusing because there was no narrative to explain, but there was that concern regarding gates. So I added an item I, which
Could be
with these
F.
changes will be 8.
Which the gate's not opening on other people's property?
No portion of fence, including but not limited to gates, posts, or panels shall be installed in such a way that would cause an encroachment at any time over parcel boundary lines.
That's in there, right?
That's what's been added, so that is another amendment
Good.
to
That's
another
what
change,
that's what you're proposing to
modification.
add, right?
Yes,
Okay.
if you guys are happy with the language.
Could you, just to make sure it's clear, so somebody doesn't read that and not comprehend, maybe say to, some way, example, gate opening on, so it's clearly stated that that's what we're after there, or you think it'll be simply known?
I think, do you think that's,
Yeah,
Jeremy?
either a footnote or a IE.
Okay,
Yeah, an IE, there you go. Give me an IE and I'll be happy.
okay,
So-
i.e., no gate shall,
Maybe say IE, gate
Okay.
onto somebody's yard.
Gate opening
et
onto
cetera.
someone else's property.
Put a little et cetera. Parenthetical.
So when we get to this, we will have to do the public hearing's closed, right?
No,
So I think we closed 5, right? Didn't we close 5, Rich?
we closed
Early?
5, right, Rich? That was it?
wait, I can't-
No, we didn't close 5.
Did we
All
close that?
4 cases were
I thought we
continued.
closed one of them.
We continue to,
No, we continue, that's what.
We continued all of them, so,
Yeah.
do we have to reopen and have public
no,
hearing again?
we're still in the public hearing.
You can go in, yeah, you're still in the.
You didn't
public
close
hearing.
it, so you're
you go
in
into
it.
the public hearing, get a motion to close it. Then
Close
you
it.
Then you do the motions to approve.
So what we need to do is have her write this, get it in here, updated, so we pass the resolution. So resolution to accept zoning case EC with the following changes or amendments, right?
Yeah, so here's my only question, Harley, is
Mhm.
have we made significant enough changes to 08 that it should go back to the commission?
We are deleting one section, an associated figure and associated definition.
So I don't think so.
Subsection.
Okay.
So I don't think so, and the reason why I don't think so is that all they're doing is removing what's been suggested to be added, basically, and adding a small amount of verbiage.
So,
Does that?
We're
they're
essentially
accepting- they're
dropping
accepting-
one thing off.
So they're accepting this proposed change, the removal of this language. They're removing this proposed addition and then adding this. And then
Just adding the.
adding the bit about it being 5 foot from the right of way is what they're doing here. What do you
so I think that differs from what the commission was
intending
intending,
enough to?
and I'm sure they're fine with it, and I hate to be the wrench in the plan, but I feel like it would be cleaner if it went back.
To send it
because I
back.
think that's a
Okay.
significant enough change.
So, but then those others all hinge on that one. So
So now we gotta continue everything else till this comes back again.
I mean, you could close the other ones and just don't approve them yet.
do we have to take,
Well,
once we
actually-
close it, do we have to take action within
We
20
table the
days?
vote,
Oh.
don't you? Yeah, you gotta take, yeah, right, 20
Yeah, 'cause
days. you
there's
gotta
all the
take action,
changes
so-
to
So
the.
So we'll table, continue one more time, send that back with our changes, have them update the code, have it come back to us next time for close it out and then approve.
Okay, so, oh, they have to set
When
it
do
for
they
public
meet again?
hearing. They're gonna have to set it for public hearing.
We got some-
February 8th.
So why does it make,
Sorry.
I mean, there's not significant changes though, really?
I feel like it's a different intent than what they gave to you.
What's the,
I feel like now you will have made the language changes yourself without a recommendation from the commission.
The trustees are not obligated to accept the recommendation of the zoning commission. They are rejecting the last paragraph of 6.0, whatever it is, E. They are rejecting 6 point whatever it is, F. They are rejecting in figure 6-2, and they are reworking some of the language that they rejected in a way that they believe benefits the community. That's my pitch.
See, I'm not entirely, and well, I'm not an attorney or anything. But I mean, the intent is to be less restrictive, and the way that the zoning commission saw fit was to include a line of sight safety triangle. And the trustees thinking that that might be a little too restrictive,
Well,
would like
it's a
them to
safety standpoint.
redefine the safety triangle, but agree with all the other changes, basically.
so we all agree safety is paramount and we're trying to ensure that our zoning code provides that. It's just a different method of providing safety. So it's not that we're rejecting their premise, we're rejecting the
wording.
method to achieve the end result.
Right, but the wording is that's what the commission does is the wording. The intent could be the same, we can write it a million different ways. So I'd be worried of somebody challenging us going back and it was just something that, it's almost like you've sort of worked around the commission. And I understand the intent's the same, but I feel like the whole purpose of the commission is to come up with language. They've come up with language to do maybe it's the same intent, but the language is different and the effect would be different.
But we pay you to keep us out of trouble, so if you're there, that's where I'm at.
So let me ask you this, is it gonna be more streamlined to just close everything, decline that, send it back, have them change
Have
and
them do
create a
the
new
case.
case? I mean, that way, or they're gonna have a public hearing anyways? This way, oh wait, but this other stuff teeters on this one, right?
Well, okay, so here's another question. In section 5, I think I don't think section 6 itself has anything to do with the other cases, right, Rich? None of your other cases are hinging on section 6?
Right.
Okay, so,
In section 5, these definitions aren't going to impact any of the other cases.
so
Well,
none of,
yes, they are. Yes, they are.
oh, okay, so can they,
Damn.
the definitions that are unrelated to the fencing and line of sight safety triangle and keep that? Is there a way to separate that, or does it have to be like?
So would it be approving case 08 except for that one section?
Except for section 6 and the definition of line of sight safety triangle and the figure that goes with it in the definitions.
I would say, yes, you could do it. You could approve 08 except for those sections. I think you can do that. Could that end up being complicated for you guys to keep track of?
Let me just,
The
so
changes?
I want to back up real quick though. So we send this back, let's just say they're set on this, like they love this, and we send it back, and then they don't want to rewrite it. Then what?
Then would you guys be able to just change it yourselves?
Yes, I mean, I thought we had the authority to change that, what Rich said, that we're not bound by anything that they do, and we have the final authority to change those things.
Yeah, I would want to do a little research on that, but I think you could do it yourself. I guess my question here is we're approving a zoning
Since they've already
commission
done
case.
it. Okay.
So to approve it with all those changes, you're really not approving that case. You're just
So
doing
could
your
we
own
just,
thing. Reject that one?
reject that case and make the changes now and approve them that way and just send it through? So go through, close out our public hearings, reject the other cases, reject ZCO 8, but then the trustees pass a resolution to add the to change zoning, sections 5 and 6, blah, 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 with all,
I think you can do that. I think you would have to do your own public hearing again
Okay.
on what those changes are, which you could do next.
if they don't, I'm just,
Right.
I would assume they're gonna,
Yeah. 'cause
they
I
know
think
what
they
we're
were-
after, but,
Yeah, I think they were trying to get what you guys wanted.
right, okay.
Harley was doing. So, I mean, obviously, that's what all this is for, so we figure out. the middle
So we don't decline it, we'll just push it one more time, send it back, have them amend it, and have it come back for final, but then they're gonna have to have another public hearing, right?
Yeah, they'll have to have another public hearing for it, which
in,
they're,
what, 3
they're gonna
weeks?
have to do for, well,
About 3 weeks.
so it wouldn't be complicated at all to remove these changes and just keep the definitions, because the only thing in section 5 that's applicable to the fences is the definition of a line of sight safety triangle, which we're completely changing anyway. So that's gonna have its own
Okay.
separate day at a later time anyway.
So is the definitions part the part that we wanted to approve to go with these other 3 cases?
Yes, yes.
So I think if you approve just those parts of 08, then the other part goes back and has its own case. They can approve those parts of 08, approve the other 3 as is.
So the resolution would read, look at your resolution and tell us how, I guess, here's what I would say, do this. So here's what he's saying, all the other things teeter on the definition section of case 08, right? So what he's saying is that we approve the definition section.
So is that section 5?
Yes.
So basically, we could approve section 5 of ZC 08 and reject section 6.
You can do that, huh?
But section 5 has a definition in it, so there's one item, I need to pull up, I don't have all of it in front of me.
Question.
Continue this and have it go one more time.
What if we,
It would be easier to
All right, let's
Okay.
continue and go one more time. So
All of them or just one of them?
why
till
would,
next meeting.
and then what?
Well, they have to do their,
So it's not one more meeting, right? Zoning
well,
commission?
2 more meetings.
So we'll do a public hearing.
So, wait, so here's my question. If we do, even if we approve the definitions, if we define something that's not listed elsewhere in the code, that's
Yeah.
fine. And when they redo section 6, that could just include modifying the definitions at that point, right? Is it cleaner? Approve the definitions now. We have a definition of something we don't reference anywhere, right? Safety triangle,
Yeah.
that's fine. Kind of.
that's right.
And we just clean that up later.
Yeah, who cares if we have definitions? Doesn't
Doesn't apply. Right. So how would you read it? How would the resolution read then for that section?
I would say motion to pass a resolution to adopt the recommendation to approve the text amendments to section 5 and whatever the one other definition is. Or can we just do section 5?
So it's adopt zoning commission's
If we could
recommendation. for text
omit
amendments.
it, I'd prefer if we omit that one definition, and I can give you I have to grab it though, I don't have the whole section in front of me.
And that's the
It
safety
would be easier
triangle.
just to
Yeah.
push this thing and.
Because it's just,
Either way, we're
For a
pushing 2
month?
meetings.
We
Either
have
way, we're pushing it a month.
We have to we have to open the public hearing
They're
every
already
month.
open, so we're just gonna continue it one more time.
We don't need to read anything else. We can just continue.
Correct.
Yeah, just motion to continue.
I thought we had to kick it back to zoning. We're not doing that now?
We are.
Then they-
5.94, Harley,
I'm
Then they
sorry,
have
say
to
that
do a public
again?
hearing too, don't they?
5 what?
5.94, line of sight safety triangle.
Yeah.
Correct, but we
so
don't reject it, we
it
just
would
send it
be-
back to them, they're gonna have a public hearing for a change, right? Do they have to have a public
Thank
hearing
you,
if they
Rich.
omit?
Okay,
If they, what are so they're taking,
Those 2
they're taking out
paragraphs out,
some language that exists, right?
what's proposed.
So that was just proposed language, not, so are they keeping, so section 6 then staying the same as it was before?
Yes.
This is already proposed, so we're gonna stick with that. So we're sticking with omitting this, which they proposed, so that's no change. So they wanted to add this, we're just gonna say don't add it. And then we're getting rid of this figure. That was because that references the line site, so we get rid of that. They already asked to omit that section, which we're fine with, so we're really just getting rid of that one section and this. So we're not, and then adding the word, at least 5 feet from road right away.
So this wasn't there before, or was there? And
Yeah, they proposed to get rid of that, which
Get rid of that.
we're keeping that. They wanted to add that,
language.
keeping this, keeping, let me rephrase that. Going along with them, getting rid of that.
Okay.
Which is no change, so no change there. Just saying, no, don't add that. And then saying, no, don't add that. That's all we were doing, really.
So everything else we're accepting.
Correct.
Um, So you're saying you want to just accept their whole thing minus,
Minus that and add the 5-foot thing, and that's it, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
They're
and
allowed to, they're allowed to
5.9.
make revisions themselves, right?
they are, but then they'd have to do a public hearing on those.
But our point is, are what we doing, staying with the spirit of what they wanted to do and not making enough change that we can approve with our modifications and just have it go be
That's what
done.
I'm saying, you could approve them.
Yeah.
They can make the trustees can make modifications.
Correct, without getting too far deviating from the original purpose of this,
I think you
which was
should
to
just-
make, the original purpose was to make the code a little less restrictive. I mean, so we're really still doing that.
Mhm.
So you want to,
So really, all we're doing is getting rid of F and
so you want to just, so
6.2
you want to just pass DCO8
with our changes.
with those changes that
Yeah.
are only,
No and no on the
so
figures.
it's only
that's
two
it.
things.
Yep.
Keep them- so-
And then we're gonna later then address adding in,
So it's about the corner lot.
Safety triangle, we're just getting rid of that right now.
The safety triangle, yeah.
But we're gonna keep, they want to get rid of this section, which we're saying, yes, get rid of that
So we'd be approving DCO8
with
with the
modification,
modifications of
omitting
having F,
and
omitting F and omitting that
6.2.
picture. And then you're gonna go
Six.
back to them to do a new one.
Yes.
Yes, but we would also need to omit the definition of the line of sight safety triangle as well as the duplication of this figure that's in our
So those are.
definitions.
There.
The definition of definitely not working.
right, and then so later then they'll add in the section,
So
the
then
other
you go back
section
and do
about
that.
swinging open.
To do,
Later.
they can go through that whole process on
Oh,
that
oh, is
section,
that,
part.
okay, so are we doing that later, then we're not going to add the gate
Can we add the gate
Thing.
now or no?
I think that's probably
separate?
a step too far.
Okay,
All
all
right.
right.
Okay.
I mean, it's already there, right? We just adding the words gates, is that what you're saying? Or that section's not in there right now?
That's not in there yet, but we'll do
We
that.
can do
the
that
next go
separate,
around.
so we can get.
Yeah.
So I'm all right with that. We can do that. Just, we're not adding F and we're not.
Okay, so we're
Awesome.
gonna stay as is, and you're just adding in section E, more than 20 feet and at least 5 feet from edge road. She's just adding that little section in there, so,
Yeah.
okay.
And then we're creating our 20-foot safety triangle.
Got all this, Mr. Chairman?
No.
Later. That's separate. You're doing that another time, right? Okay, so
I
you're
don't
gonna need
know.
to
I
have
think
her
so.
rewrite.
No, no, you're just
Yeah, so-
Real
continuing,
quick,
I think. So I
item
think you have
3,
to check
resolution
with the
3.
Guy over there, he knows.
What?
She's gonna have to rewrite
Oh,
resolution 3
resolution 3, okay.
for our meeting. So if you could, so it's gotta, because it's gotta say, need a motion request to adopt zoning commission recommendations to sections 5 and 6, but with trustee changes. And maybe Jeremy can come in there and tell you how to,
I probably.
we'll write that real quick.
All right, so
Okay.
we're gonna get out of the work session at this point. We can end the live stream on that and we will start the
And give us 5 minutes to get
meeting
this.
in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, so help her write that.